Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and to our favourite video of the month, the completed pages flick through. So, I have managed to complete 24 colouring pages related things this month, which is a pretty damn good amount. I was on holiday, I did get to do a bunch of colouring. It's been a good month. So I have a few things to show you, but I have two things first to show you that I don't actually have on me anymore. So I'm going to show you digitally and insert some images here. So the first thing's actually a craft project and isn't related to colouring, but I'm really proud of it. I finished a crochet blanket. This was a gift for the wonderful Samsara, who is my lovely, lovely friend who I went and stayed with on holiday. This was her birthday gift and I managed to complete this. I've been working on it for about 2 months. I am very slow at crocheting now, so I was very pleased to finish off this blanket and gift it to her, and it's just been well loved and I love it. So just a little side deviation, but you know, it also took up a bunch of my colouring time, so I was glad to finish it. The other thing that I finished this month that I don't have on me anymore is that I completed a drawing which was of the lovely Chai, and there's actually a video on the channel of me doing this, and this was actually a reward for a charity stream I did in March, where if people donated over a certain amount they could get a little drawing of a character or someone that they wanted, and Chai chose to redeem a drawing of herself, so I got to do that, and then I got to actually give it to her when I was on holiday in person, so that was lovely. I got to meet her for the first time. So yeah, I did also finish off that, and I did add on glitter to her dress as well from the finishing of the video. I did say in the video I was debating adding glitter, but we decided to add glitter because glitter. So I have quite a few things to go through. So first off, I'm going to go through PDFs. So the first one that I'm going to show is this illustration by Haunted the Sandwich. You can find them on Instagram and Ko-Fi. They are an illustrator and they do commissions, and I adore their work, and they're also a lovely, lovely person. So I was very, very, very happy when they asked if I'd be interested in colouring one of their illustrations, and when it was charcuterie, I was like, oh heck yes, because I love charcuterie. There is actually a time-lapse of this up on the channel, and I had a lot of fun colouring in this sweet little illustration, and it was really fun to do these sort of bold highlights, and I end up doing that a little bit this month. So this is a mixture of alcohol markers, Cotman watercolours, and Liquitex gold acrylic ink, and Poscas, and I think I used a little bit of pencil as well, polychromos, just to do some little bits of shading. But yeah, I really love how it turned out, and I still have another copy should I want to colour it again. Alright, the next PDF I will show you is by Karen E. Meyers, and it is the Mystical Lands of Klynnadra. This was done as part of the Mystic Lands in May YouTube collaboration, where a bunch of us colorists coloured in works by Karen E. Meyers just to show some support. And so this is the page that I started on a YouTube live and then completed in a couple more parts. And so I've used a mixture of Liquitex acrylic inks, shimmer sprays, I think I used some Inktense pencils, polychromos pencils. I'm pretty sure there's some Prismacolors in there too. I know there's some stickles, there's some Posca, there's a little bit of everything really. But yeah, I really love how it all came together. And when I started this, I wasn't really 100% sure where I was going, but I did mention in the live that this colouring book reminded me a lot of the setting of one of my D&D campaigns, and one of the players happened to be there and mentioned that this could actually be the place where that player's character sleeps. And that immediately gave me a theme and a colorway and was like, oh yes, it absolutely could be. So this is why there's lots of purples and greens, because her magic is like purple and green. And she's very celestial based, so we've also got lots of stars and stuff. And yeah, it turned out so beautifully. I really love it. I love the fact the fire is purple and green, and we've got glowing mushrooms, and just a lot of fun with like light and highlights and reflex and stuff like that, which I always enjoy doing. So yeah, that was a really wonderful collaboration to be a part of. I actually purchased a couple of PDF books this month, and I don't normally do that, but I did discover, well, not discover, I've been following them for a while, but I decided to go ahead and buy a couple of their colouring books. So this one is Fantastical Colouring Book Volume 5 by Jessica C. Feinberg, who is also known as RareDragons on Twitch. She's a live streamer that I follow. She produces oracle cards and fantasy themed books, and then also produces colouring books with the line art of the illustrations she does for her oracle cards. And she's a really lovely person. I really enjoy her streams and watching her create these images. And so she was doing a bit of a sale, so I decided to purchase a few of her books, which you'll see in my book haul because I've also printed them. But I ended up colouring a few of her illustrations. So these are the two from the Fantastical Colouring Volume 5. So we have this Fiery Kitsune. And so this one I just simply use some, I think they're Daz water-soluble pencils. I don't actually own them. When I was staying with Samsara, she had a small set, so I just asked if I could try them out to see what they were like, and they were surprisingly good for being such a cheap set, so I do need to look at getting some for myself because I quite enjoyed them. Yeah, and this was just 3 colours, very simply done, and then the Liquitex Gold acrylic ink, just for the metallic gold. So very simple, but very effective. And then this Orca Merm, which just perfect for Mermaid. I love her. I love her so much. So the actual water in her hair and the shading on her, which is very pale and may not be picked up too well by the camera, but there is some shading on the white hair. That was all done with Crayola Super Tips. And so what I did was I had like a plastic chopping board that I would scribble the felt tip onto, and then I would dip my brush in water and pick up the ink with and use it like watercolor. And I used this technique a lot this month. I really fell in love with it. It was mostly how I colored while I was on holiday. And I really enjoyed doing that. So that's why it looks all watercolory, despite me not taking watercolors on holiday. And then I also used some Posca to outline it, and just some glitter gel pens just to add the details and a bit of sparkle. So yeah, these are very simple illustrations, and I did print 2 pages of this colouring book per page because they are smaller, simpler ones, but it's really good for just some fun, quick, simple colouring. And there are some more detailed pages and stuff in here too, which if you're interested in a little bit of a flip through, I can do. There are a few of her books I purchased, as you'll see coming up, both with the next completed pages, but also in my haul video, which I will be filming next. So this one is her Mythic Cats colouring book by RareDragons, and I completed 2 in here as well, but these ones are on separate pages. So I did this little fire leopard kitty type creature. I really like the contrast of the orange and the green, and once again this is Crayola Super Tips and just a touch of Posca for a couple of highlights on the nose. Very minimal Posca use. And then also have this little bat cat with a book and a skull here. Again, this is just Crayola Super Tips used as watercolor, and I had a lot of fun sort of picking up the highlights and playing around with the colour. So this is basically just blue, red and yellow for the colours, and then a bit of beige, and yeah, just playing around with like shadows and highlights and pulling in the different colours. So really, really fun. Again, really quick, but really effective. So those are all the pages I did in Jessica Feinberg's RareDragons colouring books. Keeping with the Crayola Super Tip theme, going into the actual books, I have the Disney Stained Glass colouring book. And in here, I finished off a work in progress page that had been sitting partially completed for a while. So I finished off this Mickey and Friends page. So this one does use Crayola Super Tips again, but I'm not using the watercolor technique here. I'm just literally scribbling in the book and just colouring in the sections as they are. I don't focus on shading or anything in here. This is sort of my brainless colouring book. That's just fun to go in and just do some mindless colouring when I want to colour, but I really don't want to think. So that is the Disney Stained Glass colouring book. There it is. Let's do Faedorables. Let's do this little mini colouring book. So this is Faedorables Mini by Selina Fenech, and it is a pocket-sized colouring book. And I did Fading Away this month. Now this one was actually done for my Wheel of Prompts. So the Wheel of Prompts is a challenge I put out every month. Well, this is the second month I've done it, but I'm starting to put it out every month, and I really like it. I will spin some wheels and I produce a setting, a vibe and a random item, and the idea is to combine it in an interesting way in a colouring book page to help inspire colour pages, create stories and just produce creativity. So the setting I got was a circus, the vibes or the emotion I got was powerless, and then the random item was soda pop. So what I ended up doing was finding this page of this ghost girl and then grabbing some Staedtler fine liners and drawing in these circus tents and this little soda pop bottle and turning it into like a story of a girl who was a circus performer and then unfortunately died and is now haunting the circus and lives inside a little soda bottle. So I love the fact that there's a little bit of a story behind this piece now. It's not just colouring in a ghost girl. It's like there's actually a story as to why she's died and why she's haunting. And yeah, I just think it makes it a little bit more interesting and helps inspire a bit of creativity when I look at the page. So in terms of what I used on the page, there were the Staedtler fine liners for drawing in the additional elements. I used Crayola Super Tips as watercolours again to colour in everything bar the black sky, which was done in acrylic paint, and then I did pull out Poscas to do all like the yellow and the white highlighting as well, and then the big black thick outline is a Posca line as well. And I really like how I got this sort of translucency, so you get the yellow through the top half of her but not down here where, you know, the moon isn't, and the yellow glow. And I'm just very happy with this piece. It was a lot of fun, very simple but very effective. So yeah, that was Selina Fenech's Faedorable Minis. And then I also did another one from Selina Fenech in Colouring Heaven's Fantasy Creatures Special. So this has got a mixture of cute designs from Selina Fenech and like more complicated designs from Chet Minton. So I ended up doing this Kitsune page, and the reason why I did this was when I was colouring the charcuterie illustration by Haunted the Sandwich, I accidentally knocked over my gold ink, so I spilt gold ink everywhere, and so I was just looking for pages that I could put this gold ink on just so it wouldn't get wasted, because I couldn't pick it up off the desk and put it back into the bottle. So I was like, I'll put it on any page I can find. And so I had just gotten this this magazine semi-recently, and I knew that it had a big moon on this page, and it's like, perfect, I can dump a bunch of it into the moon, And then I pulled out like the little elements on the page with the gold ink. And then when I was working on the Mystical Veil page from Mystic Lands in May book page, I had a bunch of green ink left over, so I ended up doing her dress green. So she started off very much as just a leftovers page, but I really enjoyed doing the ink on here. I've been really in love with wet media this month. There's a lot of like watercolory pages or ink pages. Kind of appropriate for Mermaid, actually. Loving water and Mermaid. Yeah, it's appropriate. But yeah, so I ended up doing the whole rest of this page with Liquitex acrylic inks. So everything is acrylic inks. There is nothing else used, just Liquitex acrylic inks. And I really enjoyed doing this page. It's very simple. And part of me wishes I had done like some sort of pattern or design on her, because it is very plain. It does need something else, but it was a lot of fun to practice the wet media and the shading. And yeah, I really like how it turned out. And the paper is unfortunately a little buckled because, of course, it's not designed to handle wet media. We've got a little bit of pilling and stuff. So it's not the greatest paper for wet media, but I'm okay with that. Because, again, it was fun. It was a great way to practice more wet media techniques, and I really like how it turned out. So that was the Kitsune from Fantasy Creatures Special from the Selina Fenech designs. So keeping with Colouring Heaven and also Mermaid, we have the Colouring Heaven Mermaid Special. So I completed one page in here. And that is this page by Mariola Budek. So once again, you can see there's a lot of gold ink on this page. So this is another one where I was using up the gold ink as well. So this helps use up a lot of it. But I really love how this page turned out. I wasn't expecting to use the gold in the background, but I actually really like the gold in the background. I think it kind of worked out well. So yes, there is Liquitex acrylic ink. In the gold, but also like the splatter that is around as well. And then she is coloured with Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolours. And then I've used some Posca to highlight certain areas. And I've also used some Stickles glitter glue to add sparkle. So yeah, I really love how this rainbow fish turned out, and I love how she's shaded and the different tones I got in there. But I think part of that is just I really love Mariola Budek's line work, and I definitely need to get some more of her work, because the only other one I've completed in here is another one of Mariola Budek's lines. So yeah, I definitely need more of her work because it's so cute. It's so cute. So yeah, that is Precious by Mariola Budek from Mermaid Special Colouring Heaven. Right, so now we're getting into the books that I took on holiday. So we'll start with Serenity, Everything Shiny. So I took this one on holiday. There's actually a video where I talk about what I'm taking on holiday. And in that video, I do show a sneak peek of this page, which I had started and unfortunately did not touch on holiday. So this is a work in progress that I started this month. I have been watching Firefly with some friends, and we've been enjoying watching it. And we were hopefully going to get back to another episode while I was on holiday, so I took this with me to continue. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So yeah, this went all the way with me on holiday, and I didn't get to do any more progression on it. So it's a bit sad, but hopefully next month I can carry on with it. And so far I have used, you guessed it, Crayola Super Tips using the watercolor technique. But I really love how it came out. And I think most of this so far has come from the Crayola's Colour of the World skin tone set, with a couple pulled from my 100 set. I'm going to have to get another box at this rate. I've used them so much this month. But yeah, that's Serenity, Everything Shiny colouring book. This is produced by Dark Horse. It's a combination of a few different artists, so I don't know who the specific artist of that page is. So another work in progress page that will be going into the pile for this month is an Alien Worlds page. So while I was on holiday, I was still live streaming, and I decided to take a break from my usual Mythomorphia to do another page in Alien Worlds because I really love Alien Worlds. And so, oops, that's not the page, that's the page. Started working on the Crystal Planet. I love the Crystal Planet, as we all know. So we started working on this massive double page spread. So this is a couple of live streams efforts worth of work. The whole thing has been based in Derwent 8/10 pencils, and then I've started shading a couple of areas with some Polychromos Faber-Castell pencils and some Posca markers for some highlights. Still got a lot of shading to go, but it's a good start. But I knew I probably wouldn't finish this on holiday because this is a very detailed page. And I am drawing inspiration from this completed page that I did, and I absolutely love this one. So I will be doing like that glittery sky on the background again and making all the pink glittery. And I am theming each planet in here around a colour. So the Crystal Kingdom is definitely pinks and purples. And yeah, the only other planet that I've kind of settled on a colorway is the air planet. I think it's like the second one in the book. There's a planet that is like made up of sky. This one I'm going to be doing yellows. So those are the only two I've settled on so far. We'll see about everything else, but I'm loving how this is turning out. The Crystal Kingdom was my favorite planet in this book though. Surprisingly not the water one. But yes, didn't quite finish it, so this will be on, hopefully, finished in June. Let's do Bad Girls. Let's get this one. So I did take this Colouring Heaven with me. This is the only Colouring Heaven I took because my friend that I stayed with, lovely Samsara, also has this issue. She's just getting into colouring, so this is the only Colouring Heaven that she has, but I was hoping we'd get a chance to do some colouring together, and it didn't quite happen, unfortunately. I had a bit of time during the day to do colouring, but at night we kind of were tied up with a bunch of other stuff and didn't quite get to colour together, but hey, maybe one day. But I did complete a couple of pages in the Bad Girls special. So the first one I completed is the Forest Witch by Anna Marine. I haven't actually heard of this illustrator before, but really sweet little lines. It was a very simple piece, but really fun and effective, and I really liked doing it. So once again, I have used Crayola Super Tips as watercolors. There's a real theme this month. And then I've also used some Posca for highlights. I've used the Liquitex Gold Acrylic Ink for the gold, and then also to do the splatter around the top here. And then the purple glitter is just a gel pen, generic purple glitter gel pen. And yeah, it's very simple, but I really like how it turned out. So that's Forest Witch by Anna Marine. And then I also completed Unless by Mitzi Sato-Wiuff. This one was quite a bit more detail. Took quite a while to do this one, but oh, I do love how this one turned out. And once again, this is Crayola Super Tips. There is a little bit of stickles for all the glitter, and then there's also some Posca for some highlights or details as well. But yeah, these dresses took quite a while, and then there's like all these cats and all these little details, and yeah, definitely took a while to do all this, but oh, it was a lot of fun, and I love the freckles on her face. Very, very happy with how the freckles turned out. So yeah, took a while, but very much enjoyed the outcome, and just love all the little kitties in the background too. So yeah, that is Unless by Mitzi Sato-Wiuff. And then we have A Million Sea Creatures, and you can see I did quite a few in here as well. It was Mermaid, but also I really am enjoying this, and I'm really glad I did take this book on holiday. I wish I had taken a couple more of Lulu Mayo's books, because I really got into doing the Lulu Mayo ones, and I wanted to do more, but I just wanted some other pictures rather than sea creatures. I kind of burnt myself on ocean pictures, but it happens. But I'm still pleased with the amount that I did get done, because again, I did get a lot of colouring done on holiday. So the first one is this lovely little Merm and Otter page. I did show this one on my community tab when I did say I'd reached a point with my backlog of videos that I'd run out of videos, and I didn't really want to film anything else on holiday, so I just chose to take a little bit of a YouTube break. So I do appreciate y'all just and letting me have my holiday and colour and not worry about filming and having to edit and all that sort of stuff. So it was really nice to just take a break and just colour what I felt like. So once again, this uses the Crayola Super Tips as watercolour, and then Posca for the highlights, and then some Stickles glitter glue. Fortunately, I did bump one as it was drying, so we got a little bit of a streak there, but it's not too bad. I really love how she turned out. Her colourway is just so cute. And then we have these 2 pages. So I did both these pages. So we have all these lovely little friends in their bubbles. And then we have this lobster putting on a show. And once again, it is all Crayola Super Tips used as watercolour, Posca and Stickles. Remember that combo, it comes up a lot. And then we have this lovely little Merm here with her dolphin friends. So I had a bit of fun with colour here. I was trying to make her be rainbow, but accidentally did the red and the orange of her hair the wrong way round. So it should really be like red, orange, merging into yellows, greens, blues, purples, pinks. But kind of mucked that out. But hey, you know, I still like it. It still turned out pretty darn cute. And then again, it is Crayola Super Tips for all the colouring. And then I did outline everything with a Posca. I just don't want to do like a full blue background. Again, I was kind of getting burnt out on all the water here. And some Posca for like highlights and stuff like that. And Stickles for all the glitter and the bubbles. Part of me is still tempted to go and add in like a bit more of a blue background, just so like, especially these dolphins, I feel like they get a bit lost because they're so light. And I might do that at some point, but I'm happy with it for now. And then we have this lovely little scene here with this wonderful octopus who is knitting and reading and apparently babysitting a bunch of creatures as well. Poor thing, it's got a lot on its plate. So once again, Crayola Super Tips, Posca, Stickles glitter glue. Really just was the theme of the month. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing like all the squishy creatures and stuff like that. And then the final page in here is something that was a little different. There was a bunch of penguins who were taking a ride in an owl cup with some parrots. So just because I was a bit sick of the underwater ones, I thought this might be quite fun to do for something different. So I coloured this all on holiday, and then the black background was actually done when I arrived home today, just because I didn't have like the matte flat paint that I like to use for backgrounds. It does still need a little bit of a second coat in some places, and I am still tempted to go in and add a couple of Posca stars or dots or something, which I may still do, but I'm still happy to call this piece done because it is completed. And that was just fun for something a bit different after so many watercolour pages. But yeah, that was everything I did in Lulu Mayo's A Million Sea Creatures. And then the final one, our good old Mythomorphia. So, for those that don't know, in Mythomorphia, I have a goal this year to complete this book. And I am essentially completing almost the entire book in a year. Not the entire book, but I'm doing a lot of the book this year. So in order to reach this goal, I have to complete 6.3 pages per month. And if you've been following for a while, you know that last month I did not get anywhere close to this goal. So not only was I trying to do the 6.3 for this month, I was also trying to do a couple of catch-up pages from last month. So we did a little bit in here, but it's been good. So I do have one work in progress in here, which I'm actually going to show you first, and then I'll show you all the completed pages. And the work in progress one, of course, is the back one, and it's this siren. So I had gessoed this page before I left to go on holiday because I was hoping to have time to do another spread similar to how I did the Merms page here with the Liquitex acrylic inks and the abstractedness and stuff like that. But I ran out of time. And so while I was on holiday and loving the Crayola Super Tips, I was like, you know what? I wonder if that would work in here. So I decided to try it. Now, unfortunately, because of the gesso on the page, the water can't really absorb, which means that the pigment just kind of sits on top. And when you add in more water to try and blend or shade, it just bleeds quite a bit. And then the colours that I chose are a lot more vibrant than I was initially imagining. Possibly when I start to like fill in more of the white, it may tone it down a bit. But originally I was seeing very dark, spooky colours, and she's ended up very pink. So it wasn't really what I had in mind, and there's just a lot of cleanup to do. So yeah, I'm not overly thrilled with how it's going. I'm going to have to put on my thinking cap to see what I can do, because like I would just chuck on like the Liquitex acrylic ink, except because this is just sitting on the surface, it hasn't really dried down and it becomes reactivated very easily. So yeah, I've got a bit of thinking to do to try and figure out how I'm going to work this page, but I won't show you. That's a work in progress. But yes, for the completed pages. So the first one is this big, massive double page spread that we finally finished off. So this was started in April for part of my April hashtag Kirby's Funky Fun, and then went into May's Kirby Catch Up May because we had to finish it. So yeah, I love our Grumpy Rainbow Gnomes. It just turned out so well, and it was worth the time it took. So this one uses quite a few different materials. We have black acrylic paint with Posca, and then metallic paint sticks for the background. The foreground is a mixture of Derwent Inktense, Polychromos and Prismacolor pencils, acrylic paint, glitter glue, Stickles glitter glue, Posca, and then I think there's also a little bit of Crayola Super Tips for some of the skin tones because I didn't quite have enough skin tones for what I wanted. I think that's everything I used, but yeah, I really love how vibrant and poppy this page is now. So despite it taking a while, definitely pleased with the outcome. Another page I completed this month is this Jackalope. Now this is actually a buddy colour with the wonderful colouring Bumblebee, and I will insert their picture here for you. It is a really fun buddy colour that we tend to do every month. We end up approaching pages so differently, but I love them so much. Like she went so pastel and soft. Now I've gone so bright but loose. Really interesting to see the differences. So for this one, I used my usual technique of gessoing a page, and then rather than applying a bunch of acrylic inks, this time I used Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolours to trial out the same effect. And it came out a lot less pigmented than the acrylic inks, obviously, but I had a lot of fun playing with colour and just smushing things around the page and just playing. There's a lot of playing in this piece. and then once it was dry, I went back in with the Posca markers to outline to create that really light, soft, watercolory, loose edging. And then I added a little bit of stickles to the butterflies as well. So that's the Jackalope, and that was page 3 done in here this month. Page 4 was the Baku. Now, I started this one on holiday, and I actually started recording it on holiday, so there is a part 1 for this on the channel. There is unfortunately not going to be a part 2 because it was in doing that I realized I really did not want to spend my holiday filming and editing videos for YouTube. So that's when I put up the post about there being no more. And I did put off working on this one again because I was like, oh, I've already put part of it on the channel. I should really finish putting it up on the channel. But then towards the end, I was just like, yeah, no, we're just going to color it in. So I am sorry there is no part 2 for the elephant. It will just be what it'll be. But hey, it happens. So this one uses Derwent Inktense, Polychromos pencils, Posca's Liquitex Gold Acrylic Ink, and Stickles Glitter Glue for the whole spread. When I put the glitter glue on, I accidentally put it on the horns. I was meant to put it on the gold. It was going to go on the gold and the horns were just going to stay light white. But in my silliness, I put it on the horns. So then I just kind of had to go with all the horns. I don't mind it. It still works, but I think it would have been more effective had it been on the gold itself. But that's okay. I also like the fact that it ties in so well with the page next to it. Despite not being the same, there's enough elements that it kind of works together. So another one that was finished this month is the Nymphs. The Nymphs were another long-term work in progress. It's been going for a couple of months. I like to have a spread that I can work on when I'm at like the doctor's or waiting for a bus or just anywhere where I might have to wait a while. Yeah, it just helps to have something where I know it's not being recorded so I can just pop in and do a little bit while I got some time and then carry on with whatever I need to carry on with. So this one uses Derwent Inktense pencils, Polychromos, Prismacolor, Posca, Stickles Glitter Glue, and the Liquitex acrylic inks. I'm not overly in love with how this turned out. Unfortunately, my yellow Posca ended up kind of dying by the end of here. My light yellow Posca, I used the light yellow 1MR Posca so much this month, so I am not surprised it was like, yeah, no, I'm done. But it did limit the amount of highlights that I could do versus what I wanted, and it's not quite 100% how I imagined. I still like it, it's just not everything I imagined, but it happens. Not every page is going to be your absolute favourite, you know? And I'm still pleased with how it turned out, so that's the main thing. And then the next big spread to show in here, and in fact the final spread, is the Fantastical Forest. And we're going to have so many issues with lights on this one. This was another massive long labour of love. This one took a while on stream, but I love how it turned out. So this one uses Derwent Inktense, Polychromos, Prismacolor, Posca, Stickles, there are Stickles, Liquitex acrylic ink, and then it also uses Reno Art glitter paint in the background. And so what I did was, as well as colouring it, I had a lot of fun playing with light effects in here. So all our mushrooms are luminescent, and like playing with where those lights would actually hit on different things. And then we've got like lights inside like the homes from their lights, and then on the portal of this tree, making that also be a glow effect, so playing with blue reflex as well, and like how the green affects on the pink. And yeah, it was difficult, but it was really fun, and I love doing the glow effects. And I don't think the camera's picking it up too much because like these are neon green intense mushrooms, but it's really pretty in real life, that bright green with the dark purple, and then those little pops of gold just really works. So as long as this one took me, I'm very pleased with how it turned out, and I do apologize, it is awful to try and capture on camera because it is so sparkly and shiny. So yeah, I hope you liked seeing all my completed pages and my current work in progress pages for the month. I am running a bit late with doing this, so I haven't done the stats or anything, and I don't have the spoons to process that right now. I just want to get this part filmed so I can get the books away and sort out my shelves and all my new purchases and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're looking for the part of my journal when I fill out all my stats and stuff, that's not happening this month, but if you're interested in anything, just let me know down below. But yeah, I would love to hear what your favorite page was and what your coloring plans are for the month. I have a few ideas in mind, and it'd be lovely to try and get as much done again, but we'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.